What's going on, guys? Jeff here for Mad Hatter's Reef, and today we got a brand new video for you. We're going to be taking a look at the top 10 must-have items for a Nano reef tank. But before we jump into that, if this is your first time being here on my channel and love reef tanks, want to learn more about them, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can be in the know every time that I upload a new video, because I put out a new video every single week. All right, kicking things off with number 10 on our top 10 must-have Nano reef tank items is salt mix. Salt mix is a very important part of keeping a saltwater aquarium. Who'd have thunk it? And there's a lot of folks out there that may disagree with this, especially folks that have been around the hobby for a long time. But getting into the hobby, getting acclimated to keeping a reef tank, a very important part of that process is conducting water changes. Water changes are going to replenish a lot of the trace elements, calcium, alkalinities in your water to keep your invertebrates and your corals and other critters happy, healthy, and growing. Now, as far as salt mixes go, folks are incredibly passionate about their salt mix, but Instant Ocean Reef Crystals has always been a good beginner salt that is going to take care of a lot of the parameters that are required for maintaining a reef tank. Awesome product. Check it out. Reef Crystals from Instant Ocean. Coming in at number 9 on our top 10 must-have Nano reef tank items is a refractometer. Now, if you're going to be mixing salt water, you need to measure your specific gravity or salinity, and the best way to do that is with a refractometer. The recommended specific gravity for a reef tank is 1.026. As far as salinity goes, it's 35 parts per thousand. So if you keep it in between those, as far as what's better, specific gravity, salinity, you're keeping a saltwater tank, keep that in mind. Specific gravity is a little bit more precise than salinity, but it's not necessarily measuring salt content of water. And that is a subject that I dove into in great detail in a video that I'll provide a link in the description below if you guys want to check that out. But if you're looking to mix salt water, stay away from the hydrometers. Get yourself a refractometer. You'll be glad you did it. Coming in at number 8 on our top 10 must-have items for a Nano reef tank is a digital thermometer. As far as I'm concerned, a thermometer is probably one of the most essential pieces of equipment, because you need to know what the temperature is of your water, and you use it almost at every step of the way. If you're mixing salt water, it's very important to make sure that you're taking a temperature reading of your salt water before adding it to your reef tank. If you have a heater that dies in your tank, it's important to know that you're not within that recommended 77 to 78 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why it's important to have one of these guys, or many of them, kicking around. It doesn't hurt to have too many digital thermometers kicking around. The batteries are pretty easy to replace. This one I've used on a number of tanks over the years. It is not too expensive. It's not going to break the bank, and they work really, really well. So definitely a solid thermometer and a very important piece of equipment for any reef tank, not just a Nano reef tank. Coming in at number 7 on our top 10 must-have items for a Nano reef tank is a RODI filter, or reverse osmosis deionized filter. This is an incredibly important part of maintaining any reef tank in this hobby, and I can't tell you how many times that I've had questions from folks asking about problems that they're having with their reef tank, whether it be red slime or some other type of husbandry issue that's going on in the tank, and usually it can be traced back to not utilizing a RODI filter. It is an incredibly important piece of equipment, and when I first got into the hobby, I kind of skimped on the RODI filter to begin with, and I did have a very large red slime problem in my 55-gallon aquarium that was contributed to not having a very pure water source for mixing my salt water, and that's why a RODI filter is very, very important. Now, essentially, what this filter is going to do is it's going to remove chlorines, metals, other solids. They're also referred to as TDS, and what TDS is referring to is total dissolved solids. And what you want coming out of your RODI filter, once it has gone through all the different filters, is a TDS of 0. Now, a lot of the RODI filters that are out there, or a lot of the newer ones anyways, have these meters built right into them, so it's almost plug and play. You don't have to worry about it. But if you don't have one built into your RODI filter, don't worry about it, because Auto Aqua actually puts out a pretty solid meter, and all you need to do is just basically splice your source water line or your output line and plug it into the meter, and you're up and running. It's actually going to work for you. I think it's battery operated, so it doesn't have to plug into anything, and you're able to measure your total dissolved solids that are coming out of your RODI filter. And this is important because if you are having TDS creep, it's going to increase the probability of having issues in your reef tank. So it's definitely important to make sure that you're checking this, because it's going to save you a lot of heartache down the road. Coming in at number 6 on our top 10 must-have items for a Nano reef tank is a graduated cylinder kit. This kit I actually purchased, and I have used it probably more than any other thing that I've bought on Amazon for my reef tank. And I use it for measuring bacteria or even dosing calcium, alkalinity, and hand dosing. And in a Nano reef tank setting, it might not be completely logical to have a dosing pump or have some type of device that is going to add supplements to your tank, and do it the old-fashioned way. Have a graduated cylinder kit, have the ability to dose product, measure it out properly so that you can dose to your tank in the recommended amounts. And this product right here, I definitely have used it a lot and appreciate it. And I think if you get one yourself, you'll find the value in it as well. Coming in at number 5 on the top 10 must-have Nano reef tank. I guess, well, this isn't necessarily a must-have. Let's just put it, it's not a must-have, but it's in here anyways, and let's talk about it for a second. So we got the Flip Kick from Flipper. Now, for anybody that does any type of Instagram or even video content, this is actually a pretty interesting product. I actually have one and been using it to take some pretty awesome pictures and sharing it on the interwebs. I've actually even used it in some of the videos here on YouTube. It's definitely a solid product that is going to help you take some awesome pictures. And if you are into taking pictures of your corals, your invertebrates, your fish, I definitely recommend taking a look at the Flip Kick from Flipper. There's a lot of these products that are out there that are very similar to this, and I've looked at quite a few of them, and this one is definitely the best. Coming in at number 4, and this is a must-have item, this is the FreeC LED Heater. Now, the reason that this guy is in this top 10 is because of the shape of it, and because of the shape of it, it actually affords you heating your tank properly, because it is up to a 100-watt heater in this size, and it's very compact. It's not your typical tube heater, which in many cases when you're talking about a smaller tank and you have these tube heaters, they're almost always hanging out of the water, well too far out of the water. And this one is so compact. It is, I believe, 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches and only about 1.5 inches thick. And they have them ranging from 50 watt, 75 watt, and 100 watt. And if you have a Nano tank and have had a hard time finding the right heater, check out the FreeC LED Heater. Coming in at number 3 in our top 10 is the Smart Security System from Auto Aqua. This isn't the first product from them, but these folks do put out some awesome products. Now, this one is a little bit of redundancy for your Nano reef tank. Now, a lot of folks aren't really going to go out and buy a Neptune Systems Apex for a 20-gallon or less aquarium, but this is where something like the Smart Security System can come into play and offer you a little bit of redundancy for your tank that is going to help protect your tank in the event of something going wrong. Now, you don't need to buy all 3 of these products, even though that if you have a nano to mid-sized tank and are not looking to spend a ton of money on a controller, this is definitely a smart option. You can buy these individually. You don't have to buy all 3 of them in a pack. As far as what they do for you, the level sensor is going to measure the water level, and if the water level drops too far, it's going to shut off a pump, which in most cases some type of return pump. If it were to run dry, that could definitely cause some problems. The skimmer one's probably the most on the fence product in this lineup. Not a lot of Nano Reef tank keepers have skimmers, but if you have a collection cup that becomes too full, it's going to shut the protein skimmer off. And then lastly, probably the most important, the Smart Temp, which if your heater were to become stuck on, it's going to shut that heater off and throw an audible alarm to alert you that something is wrong. All three of these products, absolutely phenomenal. Check them out. The Smart Security System from Auto Aqua. Coming in at number 2 on our top 10 must-have Nano Reef tank items is the AI Prime. Now, this light I had on my water box for a period of time and absolutely loved it. I did have a problem with one of the two, but the one that was remaining ended up on my Nano Reef tank, and I got to tell you, I absolutely love this light for a Nano Reef tank because it offers you a ton of controllability. You don't have to have any type of controller to control this light. It simply just connects to your cell phone and you're able to dial it up or dial it down. You can turn it on, turn it off. It can ramp up, ramp down, does all of that stuff. Has an amazing color spectrum, which I definitely appreciate. And my corals appreciate it too because they look absolutely phenomenal under these lights. They're simple in their design, they're simple to maintain, they're simple to set up. And if you are looking into the AI Prime, I strongly recommend the arm. This is probably one of the best designed arms for an LED light. So the AI Prime HD light teamed up with the arm is a very sleek looking setup that is going to give your tank everything that it needs and a whole lot more. Coming in at number 1 on our top 10 must-have Nano Reef tank items is the Fluval C Evo saltwater tank kit. This is the same exact kit that I actually have my Nano Reef tank built in, and I actually got this from Fluval after MACNA 2017. And I got to talk with the folks down there about this tank, and the idea behind this is there was so many folks here on YouTube that were taking the Fluval spec, myself included, and creating a Nano Reef tank. And that's where the idea for the Evo came from. So as far as design, it's pretty sleek looking. It's a nice desk tank. Everything that's included in it is going to get you up and running. The light, I would probably recommend upgrading that over time like we talked about with number 2. The AI Prime is definitely an amazing light, and it works very well on this setup. And this is not going to break the bank. It's actually a pretty decently priced Nano Reef tank all-in-one system. So if you want to check this product out or any of the products that we talked about in today's episode, there's going to be links in the description below, which will bring you over to the Amazons where you can do a little bit more research or pick some of these products up for yourself. That's going to do it for this one. If you want to learn a little bit more about Nano Reef tanks or dive into my Nano Reef tank build, check out this video. I'll see you over there.